and I'm inside of Revit 2016. Now, Collaboration for Revit also works on 2015, but not further back. So it's only available for 2015 and 2016. Now, first thing you might notice that looks a little bit different or out of place is my Communicator window. So essentially all this is my ability to actually see what's going on in my project. Now, the active model, the one that I'm currently in, I can see that I'm inside of that. I recently saved to Central. And I can also see that there's another user in this project, and there's another user in the actual project itself. So not this project file, but in a different file on that project. So I can tell that by the little green dots. The other people that are part of the project are not in any of the files currently. Now, if I need more green real estate, I can easily close this, and I can always open it up again. Within this, I have the ability to search for different users or contacts, look for people who based on a specific status, and probably one of the bigger things is actually to utilize the communicator. So within this, I can actually say, okay, ask them if they can look at the floor plan today. They can actually see the contents that are coming back. They'll get an IM about that. And then what they can actually do is respond back with more information by actually taking screenshots of the Revit file. So I'll actually get a little IM coming back. If I actually see this come up here, that'll actually show me a little number once it goes through. I'll see this area, and I can always double click on it and actually see the information. Now, they're not doing a screen capture with anything else other than Revit. They're just using the actual tool specifically for capturing the screen. I can also send regular images. I can attach different files to this. And I can always save and export my chat history for later if I want to archive information that I was given. And then that's that out, and I can see both the active model as well as the active project. And if other people are actually saving, this will let me know what's going on. So essentially, it acts as my work sharing monitor as well. Outside of this dialog window, essentially using Revit hasn't changed. It's not like it's going to be completely different. Most users will never actually notice that there's something different. The biggest thing that everybody will find is that when they look to start their projects, they would go to Open, choose A360, and then choose the project that they have access to on A360, and then choose the file. So every single time they start their project, they're opening up a local file that's created from the cloud. And again, you're not going to be looking to open the local file anymore. You're always going to open it from the web, but it only pulls down the data that is different from your previous local. So you're not having to download the entire 200, 300 meg file every single time you open it. Otherwise, your Collaborate ribbon looks pretty much the same, with a few little differences here that I'm going to touch on in a bit. So the use of Revit, you have a lot of new benefits with very little to actually get up to speed with. It's very simple to start utilizing Collaboration for Revit because there's not really much that has to change. You have the ability to chat with a few people, and whoever's sort of managing the sharing of the project, they'll be focusing on those two tools. So before I touch on that, though, I want to look at the other aspect of this. So we're using Collaboration for Revit in Revit. And I mentioned that your central files are now online. Where is that? So what I'm looking to do now is I'm shifting over to a browser. Now the browser is actually at Autodesk A360 Team. When you're using Collaboration for Revit, you actually are using A360 Team as your central server. This is where you store all your content. When I log on, I can see my current hub. I can see my activity, things that have been happening, going on. And if I go to my project page, I can see things that have been uploaded, see the different project members. If anyone has posted comments or images or other information here, I can see that. And if I actually look at my data, I can see my Revit files. Now, one of the big things with this is I can click on just about any Revit file, and I am able to view it without any add-ins or plugins in any web browser. So this will load. I'll be able to see my Revit model. I can orbit around it. I can click on objects. I can get the properties of that object. I can modify some of my settings if I prefer to change how my scroll wheel works or what the view looks like. I can actually do sections in here. I can sort of do an exploded diagram to look inside of different objects. I can create markers that I can actually view things. And the markers essentially allow me to create comments. So if I have an issue with that ladder, maybe I want to know how wide it is. I can type, is that ladder to code? And add that comment. And you can see how there's a number 1 on that. The reason why there's a number 1 is that I have the ability to have multiple comments in here, and I can click on any one of these, and it'll actually take me to where I can see that comment. It knows what view I'm in. It knows what version of the file that comment was actually created for. So maybe there's a later version of this file that has a different ladder in a different location. I'll be able to tell that there's a difference. Again, I mentioned that I can look at my versions. I can see what version I'm looking at, when the file was uploaded, who uploaded it, and I have the ability to download it or view previous versions. And I can also look at different views. So by default, I'm looking at a 3D view, but there's nothing keeping me from looking at any of my floor plans, my schedules, my sheets. So I can look into my content here and actually see what's going on. And from here, if I want to, I can actually share my files. And I can share individual files by nothing more than a link, meaning they don't have to actually be allowed to see the entire project. People don't have to actually become a part of that project. I can just send that link out. And all they need to do is type that in, and whether I allow them or not, they can either just view it, or they can view it and download it. And one of the really cool things is, let's say that you've done a project in Revit that you're really proud of. You'd love to put it on your website. All I have to do is go to Embed and put this on my website. And that will actually embed the model in my web. And now I can just sit there and orbit and look at the content however I want. So you'll have this ability to actually do this and click on objects, orbit around, without having to do any coding.